This may wind up being a tradition that Daniel started, but basically what some of the accomplishments were this trip to Dog Island. First thing is, Daniel last trip very much simplified the plumbing system, and then this trip I made it more complicated. So in an attempt to minimize the impact of my complicated additions, I painted the neon orange the 4 bypass ball valves. Basically, neon orange ball valve means that it should normally be closed, and if it is open, then some other valves need to be closed and you need to pay attention to them. But for the most part, if they are you can tell at a glance they're closed, and then that is good. As I said, Daniel has did a lot of work to make the plumbing system a little more logical. Then I decided to go ahead and I put the filters in parallel, 2 sets of 3, and I added the basically a bleed capability to get the air out. When you change the filter, there's always going to be air in the system, and that is with the clear PVC pipe there. I also added a backwash feature, which has not really worked as well as I had hoped. And I'm going to give a quick demonstration of it. A couple of things that are different. This is a PVC gate valve, and that gate valve is very good at controlling the flow. You've got very good control over that. These are PVC. They're ball valves, fairly inexpensive, but not as cheap as your standard ball valves from Lowe's. And I'm hoping they will last longer. Okay, this is where it gets confusing. Pretend this is basically, you have to think of this as the hand of a clock, and they go open, they're in the direction of the water flow. So right now, enclosed, they're blocked. So right now, these 2 are open. Let's see, I don't think I got that. This one and this one are open because they're going in the direction of the water flow. These 2 are closed because they're not pointing in the direction of water flow. But if they were open, they would be pointing in opposite directions from these. So you have to think, okay, which is the water flow, as well as counterclockwise to open, clockwise to close. So I'm going to demonstrate doing the backwash, which has not been terribly successful so far, and I'm hoping I can find a filter that will work. The backwashing system seems to work okay, except for the last set of filters, which has been a problem. So anyway, here goes with the backwash. Step 1, clockwise to close. This goes to the main house. The other rule is the white ball valves are normally open. The gray ball valves are normally closed. So the pressure of the house is off. Just double check. That's all the way down. That's all the way clockwise. This is all the way counterclockwise, so we turn this all the way clockwise to close it. One disadvantage of this valve is you can't tell by just glancing at it if it is open or closed. You have to come touch it and try to turn it one way or the other. So we're going to backwash through the first, we're going to backwash the top bank. So the water we'll turn the water off here. So clockwise to close. And so the water will flow through here. We'll leave this closed. It'll come through here, up, and then backwards through the top valves, which means we need to open this one, and that goes in the direction counterclockwise to open and in the direction of the water, at which point all of the valves went, all the pressure gauges went to 0. So turning this on, we're now backwashing through, and you're seeing a good discoloration of the, this is going down through the existing floor, or the existing pipe that was on there. That's a good bit of discoloration, so we are cleaning the filters a little bit. The main reason I was hoping is the backwash would clean the that's interesting. I was hoping the backwash system would allow us to not change the filters as much. But the other thing to look at is we've got some pressure. There's a little pressure drop across this first one. The first one on the bottom. Second, a little bit more, but I think that one reads high. And then we've got this one, definitely, this one right here, the one on the top left, top right, sorry, is always high. So it is beginning to run clear again. You can see a few bubbles going through. So we will stop it. And so to stop, we'll clockwise to close. Now we want the water to flow through the top. Okay, clockwise to close and not the bottom. So, and then this is clockwise to close, counterclockwise to open in the direction of the water flow. We want to close this, so clockwise to close, and open this counterclockwise, but it goes in the direction of the flow. Okay, and now the water will be coming through the top and backwards through the bottom. And got quite a bit of dirty stuff initially coming through. So, good thing, bad thing? Well, I spent a lot of time on this, but the jury's still out. I'd like to say that it's doing what it's supposed to, but not so much. Not convinced, but okay. And what you're hearing now is the new water heater Daniel and Eddie installed. I did a little bit, but not as much as those two. And Frank, yeah. So I think this is a good sign. Okay, we've got about the same amount of pressure at this gauge as well as that gauge. And of course, no pressure down here because it's gone the way through. Now, everything is clear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it again, clockwise to close. We're going to open. See, I'm going to try to bleed it out the top. So that will. So that's open, and what we're going to do is we're just going to, now let's see, try bleeding it out the bottom. So we'll go ahead and close this, and we'll now just bleed it out the top and see how that works. Now, I needed to add pipe to the outside. Right now it dribbles right on top of the chlorinator. Okay, that is good. It is still clear coming out the top. So I'm going to come back here off camera, clockwise to close, counterclockwise to open, and see if we get dirty water open. And we'll open this. And we're getting some discoloration, more discoloration, a lot more discoloration. It's beginning to clear a little bit. Getting a little better. And ooh, look like a drip. Don't like that. I'd like to replace this with a gate valve. Okay, off camera, I'm turning the top one back on, and now turning back to the house. Okay. The water was coming out that little pipe there. Didn't get too much on the chlorinator, but it spewed all the way out here. So another addition is need to really take a pipe, probably violate one of my rules, have it slope down to the ground, and maybe even connect it to the pipe going out the bottom. Just to have one exit for all waste. That's another trip.